Okay, so this is my 9-day report. As of the 9th day, after the 9th day, I decided to stop the experiment as I'm doing it right now. I haven't seen any significance at all in anything going on here, so I've decided to put a bigger 500 watt halogen lamp and remove my control group. But this report is basically about the first 9 days. As you remember, I had both units, both the control group and the MaGrav unit. I had it running with a 67.3 watt fan, both of them at full speed, so using the maximum consumption of the fans, identical fans. Here you can see the meter counts, not that important to me. What I do think is important is the consumption. And if you look at the consumption over each 24 hours, you'll see after day 1, these are the control groups, all the white ones, and all the green ones are the MaGrav unit. And you'll see that if you look at the consumption on a daily basis for the control unit, you'll see 1300, 1320, 1320, 1340, 1270, 1320, 1320, 1310, and 1320. On average, that brings us to a 1313 watts on average per day. And then when you go to the MaGrav unit, you'll find it's a little bit lower in consumption. It's got 1270, 1300, 1280, 1280, 1250, 1270, 1270, 1280, and 1280. On average, we're talking about 1276 watts per 24 hours consumed by the fan running on it. So if you look at the comparison, you'll notice that the MaGrav unit has been using on average about, I think it's 40 watts less than the other fan, but it hasn't dropped. So the MaGrav, although it's looking like it's using a little bit less power, it hasn't been using less and less over each subsequent 24-hour period. It has only been a little bit more stable. So that brings that whole power factor correction device into play. And from what I can see, basically the difference of about 40 watts here that we're talking over the last 9 days have been consistent. The drop, there's no drop in either of the systems, but what is happening apparently is that the MaGrav coil system and the capacitors seem to be stabilizing or optimizing the consumption current. So the amount of current being consumed is being stabilized, and therefore there's no losses. So I don't see any electricity savings in any real way. I only see a stabilization, and I think it has to do with that power factor correction device, which basically this thing is functioning as well. But as to any plasma being created, I have seen no significant anomalies anywhere. I haven't seen any reduction in consumption anywhere. So at least with my fan, the electromotor fan, I don't think this is working at all, or it's due to the coils that were wound in the different way that Mr. Keshe said in the beginning of his teaching. And this of course is my first unit, which is wound that way. And I've got a second unit operating at this moment as well. That one I will not be running a control group like I did with this one here. I will just be running the system like I'm going to be running this system now. So as of day 10, I am going to be running this system without a control group. Doesn't matter to me, because to me what matters at this point is seeing a drop in the power consumption of the MaGrav over each 24 hours. So what I'll be doing with the 500 watt halogen with my first unit from now on is measuring every 24 hours and seeing if it drops. I'm not concerned anymore about the control group. As to my second system, I'll be doing the same thing. I started it for 12 hours without a load. Then I've put on a small 7 watt load for about 2 days, day and a half, 2 days. Then I added a fan, and this morning I just added another fan. So over each, for 24 hours or something, I'll be adding. Once I reach 4 fans running at the speed of number 3 on my fan count, I will be starting the measurements. And from that moment, I'll start measuring for 4 or 5 days to see if there's any drop. Then I'll increase the load with the 500 watt halogen lamp on my second unit as well. And then I'll be measuring again for 4 or 5 days. And then I'll probably increase the load again with another 500 halogen lamp. By that time, I should be running 1.5 kilowatt hours on the system and measuring each 5 days to see if there's any significance. As to this experiment, my first unit with the fan, I don't see anything at all. But hey, who knows what the cause is.